For 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are carrying the weight for giant corporations and special interests, putting their needs over those of the American people. There are many pressing issues facing our nation, from the epidemic of gun violence to protecting a woman's right to make her own health care decisions, and yet, this committee, under Republican leadership, continues to spend its time working on behalf of the wealthiest, well-connected, and most powerful. At the direction of these large corporations, my Republican colleagues are pushing to outlaw, undo, and overturn rules that benefit low-income Americans who are seeking justice. Right now, all across the country, there are right-wing coalitions attempting to advance a conservative legal agenda, undermine judicial ethics and standards, and take this country back in time when people who look like me were not afforded the same rights and privileges of my Caucasian counterparts. That's what led most recently to the Supreme Court banning affirmative action in college admissions, and not to mention the Republican effort to implement a nationwide ban on mifepristone, the abortion medications. Republicans want to cut funding for the judiciary and federal defender services because they believe it's more important to game the system to their advantage rather than to ensure the system is fair for everyone. How far will they go? What is next? See, they have used the courts to rip up the constitutional protection for a woman's right to make her own health care decision. They have used the courts to throw out all kinds of common sense gun violence prevention measures, doing the bidding of the gun lobby. They have used the courts to attack fundamental tenets of our democracy, the Voting Rights Act, and the ability of the people to choose their representatives rather than the other way around. So, Ms. Clark, you actually touched on something that I'd like you to elaborate a little bit more on, which is how the court system is used and abused by large corporations and powerful special interests in ways the average person does not have access to.
Congresswoman Brown, as I mentioned in my testimony, the revelations over the last 6 months from journalists indicate that some members of the Supreme Court have accepted repeatedly rather lavish gifts from very wealthy patrons. And this practice of, one might say, fraternizing with this group, including, at least in a few cases, people who have matters before the court or whose interest could be affected by court decisions. This phenomenon absolutely undermines public trust in the Supreme Court. So I would just say that's why I think it's important for there to be an institutional response rather than simply vilifying the justices who have engaged in this behavior.
Thank you so much. Well, I want to end by echoing Ranking Member Raskin and a call for a hearing on judicial ethics and conflicts of interest posed by Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito receiving gifts from GOP megadonors who have business before the highest court. I would think these significant issues of actual, proven conflicts of interest would be of the utmost concern of my Republican colleagues, given the time, attention, and resources this committee has dedicated to futile, fabricated, and reckless rumors about the president, which I will happily remind everyone have been a dead end every single time. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
You can yield back, but that statement was completely false. We're not going to strike it from the record because it's your opinion. You can have an opinion, but bank records don't lie. You should go to the Treasury Department and read, like we have, the 150 bank violations from this family. And I am excited about this committee's newfound.
4 indictments.
Do you want to go, Ms. Crockett?
91 counts.
That what?
4 indictments, 91 counts.
We are very excited about your newfound desire and concern about influence peddling. And to answer your request, we're going to have plenty of opportunities to talk about influence peddling, and you're more than welcome to bring up the Supreme Court. You're more than welcome to bring up the previous administration.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Just
state your point.
But where exactly are we in the order of things? Whose time is being used right now?
Well, we are now yielding to me. It's my
Gotcha.
time. I ask questions.